I are holding hands this afternoon. We got a lot to do, and basically, we're just going to hop from star system to star system, hugging each other, seeing the value of one another, understanding that I am you and you are me. And as we swing from star to star, our consciousness is going to expand. Your heart chakra and your heart center and everything that's connected with the higher order of life will expand exponentially every wonderful thing in your life. So who's holding your hand today? It's me, Elaine Bartlett, and you have tuned into the Purple Portal. I can already kind of feel some of you going, I didn't get any email this morning. You didn't. Normally, my Tuesday email goes out saying, listen in, listen up. We're going to be talking about such and such today. Well, I wasn't quite sure what such and such was going to be, number one, until it's unfolding as we are together today. And number two, I am still in New Jersey, swinging on star systems up here. You know, it does make me smile. I thought I was coming up for a week or two, do a little feng shui, do some personal consultations. I think I'm going on to week 6 now. And yes, it's involving feng shui. Tomorrow I'm going to Morristown to do an all-day gig, and there's been consultations in and out of my hotel room, a continuous flow. But I've added something completely unfamiliar to me, but completely on the wavelength that I've been so moving in toward for the past few years unknowingly. Those of you who know me, I have been involved in watching and hoping and knowing your perfect health underneath any disguise, any appearance, probably for most of my life. But it's become more intense as I've gracefully aged. So as I watch just the appearance of things and have expanded my consciousness through the whole energy field known as non-duality, which very calmly says there is only one and there's nothing else. So you could tell me a litany of all your issues, and one by one, I would gently help you to drop it. Drop it. Let's get back to the core, center line of you and me, this planet, this galaxy, and every other galaxy. And that core is pure light. It's pure conscious awareness, full stop, case closed. It's a discipline to stay there in the face of every single appearance that's going on right now. You know, I was speaking with some friends down in Florida today. Yes, the condominium that my home is in down there, apparently there was some damage to some of the units. But there was a lot of damage on Merritt Island. Again, Jeff was just sharing with me the fragileness of a bridge, and now people are quarreling about who's going to pay for this thing. And in the meantime, lives are at stake, and well-being, and income, and happiness. So it gets challenging to keep dropping the appearances. And yes, I have friends in Mexico. Their lives were completely upset this past week. Earthquakes, I can't even imagine which is worse. Earthquakes, hurricanes, it's all a catastrophe. And yet, the discipline is stay centered, stay grounded, and focus on pure awareness. And only as each one of us is accountable to do that will you grow. I don't know where it will lead each of you. For corn's sake, I didn't know where it was going to lead me. But today I spoke with a woman. She's becoming a dear friend very quickly. And it's an interesting situation. We didn't see eye to eye at the beginning of the relationship. And yet, I knew instantly underneath it, I would have to drop that. She dropped it. And I can feel, it's like a flower that couldn't open for both of us. And it's just the most magnificent thing to see yourself flower and then see how your flowering can help somebody else. And between the two of us, we're going to help a company that we're connected with flower in ways they couldn't even begin to understand. And I know they can flower because the thing that drew me to this astounding company is one word: integrity. It's a very important word to me because some of you understand who've been up here training with me a little bit in the energies of your galactic signature, which would be your understanding how the galactic calendar works for you. Well, part of my signature is to hold the frequency very firmly for the word integrity. And the word integrity is not exactly how we've been trained to look at it in the United States. The hidden word, the hidden meaning of integrity is wholeness. So I have to look at each of you and remember your wholeness, no matter what your story, no matter how miserable things are for you right now, perhaps, how unsettled, how unhappy, how seemingly unfortunate. And I use that word carefully. It's seemingly, because behind every appearance of unfortunateness is a silver lining. We just have to stay in our body to find the silver lining. And some of you are now getting so tired that you're thinking, I got to jump ship. Last year was one of my times where I'm like, okay, I'm done now. Okay, I did it all here. And yet, once my strength began to come back, I stayed put. And I stayed put very quietly. I did not run around. Well, I was too exhausted to run around. But that's when the intensity of the learning came for things like the galactic calendar, like present awareness and living it and breathing it until you become it. And it's the same kind of training that actually says to someone like myself, there's nothing else to seek. There's nowhere to go. And I know some people are going to be uncomfortable with this because it's still working for you, and I'll put it out anyway. First, I will give the caveat. Whatever works for you, have a good time, do it. Some people are still thinking a diet of wine and chips works for them. Have a great time, do it. That doesn't work for me. Some people think a diet of a certain kind of religious organization works for them. Have a good time. Do it. Whatever your thing is, I don't have any quarrel with it because it's exactly where you need to be. But the thing I'm going to throw out that some of you will go, whoa, that's a bit over the top, Elaine Bartlett, it's the fact that finally you have no need to meditate. And why would that be? You become it. You become the meditation. You become the light that you are. And that's why there's no seeking. Everything drops away. You don't have to go to another seminar. You don't have to talk to another guru. You don't have to, you don't have to do anything other than simply be what you are. And that's pretty scary for people because they're afraid to dig in and see what they are. And in the United States, that's an epidemic situation of a very serious nature because they're running so fast that they refuse to see what they are. They can't. They don't want to. It's actually not that they can't. It's more that they won't. So I've bumped into something up here that, you know me, I love to have my little, okay, here's my gripe session of the day. It's something that I don't know whether to laugh or cry over this situation, and I will be rather careful how I put it out because I'm sure there's a lot of companies making a lot of money from this thing. Thankfully, where I live in Florida, I'm a bit insulated from some of this stuff. I won't even go there. I don't have time to go into these places of looking at the next gadget. So you know I'm now going to hit on a gadget thing. So I get up here, and everybody, all these gals, especially the gals, are displaying on their wrist something, I think it's called a Fitbit, whatever it is, I can't even pronounce it. And they are absolutely addicted to this thing and what it's saying. And I had a gal here at noontime who was trying this magical device that I have brought up here, which is extremely disruptive technology. It is extraordinarily revolutionary, and it is bioenergetic medicine, and it supports the blood flow. So it's so far superior to looking at a thing on your wrist, which is reaffirming over and over and over that perhaps right now your heart is not beating the same way it beat 10 seconds ago. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? What has gotten into people? What are they doing? Not only that, you know how cautious I am about my privacy, even though that's kind of an oxymoron. Here I am on a global radio station telling, my name is Elaine Bartlett and I live in Florida. But on the other hand, no, my personal life is my personal life. And I've not been so cozied up to Western medicine my entire life, and blessedly attracted the few integrity-filled Western doctors, because there are some out there, and I was always lucky enough to find them. But now, unfortunately, there's been a lot of unsettlement in that line of work, and I'm not convinced that they're living up to their oath of do no harm. They're too busy, and they only have they must have their Fitbit on because they only have 4 minutes and 16 seconds to even talk to me. If I'm sick, I'm sorry, I don't have an elevator speech to tell you what's wrong with me in 4 minutes. I can't do that. And besides that, I might be hurting and something else is going wrong. But let me go back to this thing on people's wrists. So this gal today, she's here getting her blood flow supported for 8 minutes. And she's checking out this dang thing. Now, there's so many dangers with this thing. Number one, you will completely forget who's in charge of your lifetime, and it's you. And it's your job to know how to read your body. Know how to stop when your body says stop. Know how to eat when your body says eat. Know how to exercise when your body says exercise. What is this that you're now being conditioned to let go of those simple powers? Excuse me, I find that beyond horrifying, beyond it. So then, of course, my next question is, so is this by any chance tuned into your cell phone, which has an energy package connected to it, which is so lethal? Now you've got it strapped onto your arm. You've got this thing. Oh, you get where I go with this thing. Really? So now, here she's thinking she's a private person. I beg to differ with that, because this information is fed into your cell phones. Now she will wonder why she starts getting ads in her personal email for AFib medicine and heart palpitation stuff, and somebody's already told her she needs one of these contraptions on her head when she's sleeping at night. I do try to remain calm with this because it's her journey. However, would you please think about what you are doing? This is a wake-up time on the planet. We are changing paradigms. You know, I've said in the past, I've spoken about shifting paradigms for as long as many of you were coming to the Purple Pear 15 years ago. Quite frankly, at the time, I wasn't sure what the heck I was told to be speaking about, but I put it forth. But now I've got the clear, clean consciousness about what that means. And it means you and I better really get with the program of learning to still yourself, eat right, take a walk. I'm going to give you the name, because all cell phones, I'm really now on another warpath about them. We all need them. I'm speaking to you remotely today because I'm not at the studio. So yes, I'm with a cell phone, but trust me, it is not on my ear. So there is a company that I've actually heard about through my study of this bioenergetic medicine, this completely disruptive technology. And I'm going to spell it carefully for you because I did a lot of research before I headed out from Florida. But frankly, I was simply too busy to do much with it. I did speak with the gentleman there. I liked his frequency, and I wish I could even give you his name. I can't. All of that, I left that in Florida. But here's the name of the company. Let me see if I can get this right. It's Memonizer, MEMON, Memon. That's how you're going to look it up. Memon, M as in Mary, E for Edward, M as in Mary, O, N for Nancy. Check it out. Look it up. They have some really great devices to protect your head from all these really, really negative waves that are bombarding it. What I learned this weekend, because I went to another training field with all this great equipment that I'm learning, they really showed a picture that really stayed in my mind. It was a picture of certainly full-on, full body, but it showed how the small capillaries really mostly make up the brain. And I took note of that because many of you know last year I really suffered a really crummy fall, and my head was not the same. As a matter of fact, I would say to you, this device that I've got finally is, I feel confident in it, that it is actually going to now get the oxygen correctly back into those tiny capillaries, because I still have a spot on my eyebrow that's still numb, and this incident happened almost a year ago. When the anniversary comes up this November, I am going to throw myself one heck of an anniversary party, because that's the luckiest day of my life, the single luckiest day, aside from the birth of my son, which was right up there with the lucky days. But this, for my personal health, why was it lucky? Because, number one, I've been full-on told that was one of my leaving dates. I really could have, should have left that day. But the lucky part is, if you're going to land on your face, it could take out your eye. It could break every bone in your face. It could throw your jaw out. It could throw your teeth out. It could give you some really bad brain stuff. I think it did do some brain damage in a very happy way, because once the healing started and once I got over the trauma of it, it's almost kind of like the Buddha energy just stepped right on in, because now, aside from, okay, you have some of the normal little flitches in life, basically, I am a happy, happy girl. So it pushed out a lot of stuff with I don't know where the old Elaine went. She was a nice gal, but I think she actually left in the paradigm shift. So the new, improved edition is here with greater clarity, greater focus. Now, this interesting, phenomenal equipment that I've been using has been helping. So here's the deal. When you're given a gift, like a new tool, a new healing tool, anything you're given, whether it be you're learning finally through nutrition to take care of your body. Well, okay, but you can't just do that. Now you've got to drink more pure water. Well, okay, you can't just do that. Now you've got to take that walk around the block. Okay, you can't just do that. Now you've got to look more cleanly and carefully to the source energy within that is breathing you. You're being breathed with this magnificent light. And you are to be a light unto the world. First and foremost, would you please be a light unto yourself? It's that simple. So, these Fitbits, I really wish, you see, because I'm remote, you still can't call in. Yeah, I should probably have a disclosure here now for my beloved Jeffrey. I don't think I'm going to be back next week. I think I'll still be remote. So there will be some of you up in New Jersey that are wondering, how can you reach me here? Right here in Jersey, either you need to come for your personal consultation. If you're anywhere within even a 50-mile radius for feng shui, yes, I'll come. And if you want to come and find out what the heck I'm bumbling about for this magical, it isn't magical. There's no magic involved here. It's hardcore science by some of the finest scientists in the world. So it's a class act. Trust me, this is a class act. The packaging on this thing is a class act. So if you want to find me here, because it keeps adjusting my own mouth, this thing, I'm going to be brave, and I will actually trust all of you and honor you to honor me. I am about to put out my cell phone number here. Area code 321-210-6582. Area code 321-210-6582. I would strongly encourage you not to call right now because that's the line I'm on, and Jeffrey will have apoplexy in the studio. So thank you for not doing that. If you want to email me, most of you know I am very technologically challenged simply because it doesn't interest me. I wish it did. I use it as a tool. I am not addicted to it. I'd rather talk to you. I'd rather hug you. I'd rather remember for you until you're ready to remember for yourself that you are God in drag. And that takes some doing. It takes a lot of focus. So that's why I really do get frustrated with a lot of these social stuffs. But, so if you want to reach me here, I'm also going to give you my personal email simply because I haven't been checking the Purple Portal 777 Gmail. Hasn't happened for 6 weeks. So if some of you are frustrated via that modality, try this one. Elaine, Elaine, M as in Mary, B as in boy, 320 @gmail.com. And you're only getting it once. So if you missed it, sorry. Because I was very brave to give it once. All right, we got stuff to do today. You've got ways to talk to me. All right, let me see. You know about that. You know about that. We did that. All right, I do want to tell you, we are still obviously we're still in the year of the rooster. We're still in the fire rooster year, which is why you are hearing so many people, and it's so tedious, mouthing off, fiery, when really, just go operate your life. If each one of us simply, cleanly, with focus, operated our life properly, geez, this would be a fantastic earth. It's fantastic in its core and its infrastructure. I just don't know how dear Mama Earth puts up with all of our mismouthing. We are so mismouthing. And the year of the rooster is, stop quarreling, everybody. Grow up. Don't you want to say that to people? But to make matters even more interesting, we are still in the month of the rooster. So now we've got mismouth on top of mismouth. So please, you've got to pay attention to how you're using your mouth. And I had a very big aha moment about mouth. Because this interesting device that I am now working with, over the only 6 weeks, first it began, I could feel it was adjusting the oxygen in my circulatory system. And at first I'm like, wow, that is really so cool. And the thought went right through my mind, geez, I've always had bad circulation. And the thought went through my mind, well, about the 4th week into this journey, it began to do some stuff on my face. I don't know what it was doing. I just know it's doing something. And that was adjusting an accident that happened when I was 2.5 years old. And for those of you who know me, that was just a few years ago. However, what it's now showed me after about 6 weeks, and we're in a year of seeding. I don't want to jump around on you, but I want you to follow the dots here. We're in a galactic year of seeding, and I'm saying be careful how you're using both your mouth and your mind. Interestingly enough, all of a sudden, the big aha went on. I've been told all my life, even as a little girl, I could hear now my mother's voice speaking maybe to someone else about me. You know, you're kind of there at the table and you're kind of being discussed, or you're sitting on the steps waiting for something, and all my life I heard, oh, Elaine has poor circulation. And so I picked up the mantra. I got to tell you, that is no longer my mantra. And I will undo this thing. As a matter of fact, the minute you become aware of the fact that it's got to be undone, quite frankly, it's undone. And now it's just restoring the system to its natural state of whole, complete, and perfect, which was always there anyway. But I certainly kept endorsing, poor this, poor that, to the point where I've been working with this new equipment with a 94-year-old gal that I have absolutely fallen in love with. She's magical. She doesn't even speak English really very well. She's from another country. And somewhere, maybe a while ago in her life, she suffered an injury at work in a factory and the injury actually didn't leave her blind. The dear doctor did. The doctor did something that made her blind, which is really a tragedy. But now her eye, the other eye, is now becoming dim. She can hardly see out of it. And I listened carefully because I got the memo about there's nothing poor about me, and there's nothing poor about you, and there's nothing bad. You don't have a bad back. You don't have a bad knee. It's a good knee. It's a good back. And oddly, of course, I've taught all this for 20 million years. You'd think, how slow are we to really get the memo that it has to sink in? So I very calmly said to the daughters who were watching this process, painless process of 8 minutes, with me wrapping something around this lovely woman's eyes, me holding the vision for her, 100% that her eyesight is restored. Because I hold the consciousness, why not? She's God in drag. I will never say to this lady she has a bad eye. It won't be happening. Not on my watch. Not on my time clock. And the one daughter Now 2 daughters have heard of it, but the one daughter was actually sitting there for this. And I could see. It was as if somebody pulled back the veil and said, look what you're doing. You're holding your own mother in a spot that no one wants her in. And it was a very somber moment, a poignant moment, where, as I think of it now, she and I should have hugged each other and really cried at our own ignorance and how dangerous it is. Because the minute we can drop this nonsense, somebody's going to be healed. And I want this gal at 94, whenever it's her time to go, to drop the uniform completely. I'm holding the vision that she leaves here at least, minimum, with one eye up and running. Minimum. And I get goosebumps thinking about it. Now, the other thing, because many of you know, I work with all sorts of different modalities, and because I know it can happen. She's got this thing wrapped around her head. Now I'm holding her hand. Now I pull out my sacred healing crystal, beam in the other eye with my crystal, just loving her eye, because for years and years, that's how I've talked to people. And for good news, bad news, I'm very cautious now how I actually use the word beam, because it is connected with what I am involved with. But I can't take back 10 years of how I've talked to people and simply said, I don't know what I do. Get over here. Let's beam you up. And so in my humble attempt, being the light that I am, I thought, what the heck? Let's add goodness to goodness. That's a bit like saying, yeah, I'm telling you to drink the good water, eat the food without the GMOs, shop wisely. You know, I'm sorry to tell you this, GMO food causes fibroids and tumors. Case closed. You don't believe me? You start doing the research that my team had me doing for the past 4 years. Is it dark? Is it frightening? Is it nasty? Will it wake you up? Yep. Why would you want to wake up? I'll tell you why. When you start connecting with this sense of higher order, you can feel the presences moving greater grace right on through you. And all sense of separateness drops away. And it becomes, you move beyond labels. You move beyond right and wrong and good and bad and you're white and I'm black and I don't know about you guys, but I am so done with separateness. I'm really ready for a bigger experience. So there's many ways to get there, but you got to drop the old self. Really, it would have been lovely today for some of you to call in because I can almost feel like, oh, Elaine, what? Tell me what. All right, so we're still in the Rooster month. We're in Rooster month until October 7th. Okay, then we move into Dog month. Let me see. I've so lost track of even what day it is up here. What people said to me, did you have any problems with Maria? I think that's her name. I didn't even know I don't know. Did we? Maybe we did. So we got a few more days here until October 7th. We've got about a week and a half or so, maybe 2 weeks. You want to use this time, these 2 weeks, to really shape up both your mouth and your mind. For those of you who are listening for the first time, galactically speaking, as of July 26th, 2017, from a galactic perspective, we all stepped into what we call a seed year. It's got a very lovely name. It's called a yellow crystal seed year. Well, a seed year implies exactly that. What are you sowing with your mouth and your mind? Which is why I'm so conscious of that, which is why I'm sure I received kind of the thump of the forehead. Wait a minute. What is this about poor circulation? There's nothing poor about me. I'm a woman of substance. And many of you know there's been times when, no, I really haven't had two nickels to rub together. But dang it, I'm a woman of substance. And you are men and women of substance. So what could be poor? There's no poor knee. And anything you've been calling poor or bad, that's even worse yet. I don't know which is worse. They're both a low consciousness. Would you please take some time today to apologize? You know, we've got Yom Kippur coming up on Friday. I'm quite sure it's coming up on Friday. Yom Kippur is the Day of Atonement. Oh, I wish Renee could tune in and go, yes, Elaine, you got it right. I'm quite sure it's the Day of Atonement. You ask for forgiveness. Where do you have to start with forgiveness? And what exactly does forgiveness mean? For those of you who have no idea what forgiveness means, would you please go on my website and order spiritual law, or contact me and order spiritual law, because it's a universal law. And of course, in this house of mirrors known as Earth, we got it backward. Forgiveness means give for. That was actually the original essence of it. Give up your old thinking and way of conditioned response for something new. Give the old up for the new. So, in my case, I give up. I forgive myself for a low consciousness of poor circulation. You know, some of these things become like a badge of honor, the red badge of courage. And it was a great excuse to move me to Florida in the first place in my 20s. Oh, poor circulation. I get to go into the warm. Oddly, okay, that's where I was meant to be. So it was useful, I guess. Although who knows what my destiny would have been without that marking. So we cling to these things. We keep honoring them. Oh, bad back. Can't do that. Really? You need to be putting hands on anywhere on your body that you've cursed. Because when you call something bad or poor, it's a curse. And under the law of blessings, what you bless, blesses you. What you curse, curses you. So it's very astounding to see these universal laws seep into the consciousness of hey, kids, you're in a seed planting year. What do you want to seed? What do you want to plant? And I do get a little bit, okay, I'm really still learning patience. I'm really working on it. Sometimes I think, oh, I've mastered it. And other times, not so fast, kid. See, intellectually I know that wherever you are on your journey is correct. It is sacred. It is correct. The teacher of me, the part of me that holds you in the highest light, is like two parts. The teacher says, come on, 2 plus 2 is 4. Repeat after me. Come on, use it, be it, okay? And the knower of me becomes, I want so much for you. It's like that mother that wants to see you to be able to walk across that room if you've been locked into a wheelchair. I want to see that for you. Because in some respects, we have been locked in wheelchairs here unwittingly and often against our will, mostly unconsciously, though. And the wheelchairs of life prevent you from getting into a rehab center where you're going to have to pull yourself up on those parallel bars. And dang it, you're going to have to learn to stand up straight. And you're going to have to learn to put one foot in front of the other. Yes, it may be gingerly and sometimes painfully. When I first heard about this really astounding tool that I'm using, which was only 6 weeks ago, as I mentioned earlier, I went to their first training period. Now, I'm a pretty brave girl. I've gone against society most of my life in a very loving, gentle way, with complete heart open and really not in your face, just gentle, like, oh, let me ring that tincture bell on your knee so that you can walk, and let's try to see if that surgery could not be completely off the table for now. And dang it, that's always happened. So it was odd when I went to this first training thing. I all of a sudden had that vision of, oh, here I have to put myself up on these bars again. I actually had a pang of, I don't think I want to do this. I don't know what I'm doing. I want to go home. I got a life to live. So it was not comfortable. I'm not particularly comfortable in large crowds. They make me unhappy. I want to go and retreat and remember who I am, because I can remember better for them who they are when I'm at arm's length sometimes. So it was very uncomfortable, but it really gave me pause for thought that, hey, at all times, we're given an opportunity to pull ourselves up, maybe stretch a little bit more, maybe take that next step. You know, this year, from a feng shui point of view, for those of you who have studied with me a little bit of feng shui and get a sense of what I'm talking about, the energy field that resonates with the emotion fear is in the center of everyone's house and your body, because your body is the house you carry around. So you think your fear level might be tested this year? Yeah, certainly will be. So you may have to face the unknown and the uncomfortable. But it's the time to do that. Every time these, what's called the flying stars in feng shui, change position, and many of you know they change position so frequently it is almost laughable. But the biggest change, of course, is annually. And in 2018, it will change again, not at the beginning of January, but at the Chinese New Year. And that's actually when we make all of the feng shui adjustments to our physical body, to our house, to the property, and you blend that in with numerology and you're good to go. Maybe you're good to move. I know one girl that actually attended this whole gathering with me over the weekend. She knows I get sort of odd information at odd times, especially when I step away. And I simply called her and said, it wouldn't surprise me if you have the opportunity to move to California next year. So get your ducks in a row. And you know what her response was? Thank you, Elaine. I had that sense and didn't know how to, was afraid of it, but thank you. I got it. So, yes, for this year, that one star, that's what we call it, the number one star, which resonates to your kidneys. Kidneys resonate to fear, corresponds to the emotion fear. So a lot of kidney issues this year, a lot of difficulty with purification in the body this year. People are having a tough time with purification. But this month, that one star for the month is also right in the center of your body. So it's like layer upon layer. And every day these stars change, which some of you, again, those of you who know me, one aspect of me is an interior decorator. So that part reflects itself in how I decorate myself. I decorate my body invariably according to the flying stars in a combination of, where's the moon today? Because I'm an astrologer, so I stir it all into the pot and go, yeah, that's why I want to wear that today. And invariably, if I didn't if the stars shifted or something happened midday, I will sometimes go home and change my clothes because they're now uncomfortable. Now that's being very attuned. That means I've created the lifestyle that allowed me the privilege of doing that. Because I'm sure some of you are rolling your eyes and going, man, I'm stuck at a 9-to-5 job, and I couldn't go home and change my clothes even if I spilled my lunch all over it. Well, some of you are wired for a 9-to-5 job, and that's comfort level for you. My wiring is not that. And that's called getting to know you, getting to know all about you, and you need to get to know you. Who are you? What are you here for? And that brings me to the month, Galactic Month. We stepped into the Galactic Month on September 20th, because again, their months are totally different than ours. And this month is called the Electric Moon of Service. So you bet your boots, I have looked very carefully at how can I be of greatest service. That's what it's about. This is a service organization on Earth. That's what you've come for. That's what you grow into. And maybe your service seemingly is insignificant. And those of you who think what I'm about to say is insignificant, we need to have a little powwow. Because some of you that think it's insignificant have devoted yourself to raising your children properly. You're there for them. You're helping them. You're guiding them. You're disciplining them correctly when they're out of line. And to see how a parent carefully does that, there's nothing better. Because the children are the future. You know, by the time you're a parent, sorry, we're sort of has-beens. Yes, we are the mentors. We are the watchful ones. We are guides, but it's the children. And we want to encourage in them the proper ability to speak up, the ability to be creative, the ability to be independent and stand on their own 2 feet. Maybe that's the greatest gift I've given my son, who is comfortably independent within his nature. Do I always, look, I'm a mother, do I always 100% agree with, maybe that thing? Actually, probably 98% in the case of my son, because maybe it's because I did a darn good job. Maybe it's because I really, sincerely love him. What a concept. And maybe it's because we had it very challenging. His daddy died when he was 6 years old. We became the Bobbsey twins. We both had to grow up together. And that's love. And I didn't throw him into this thing so I could run and do that. There was consistency. There was a discipline. If anything, he didn't always agree with what I was about because he's much more scientific than I. He's an architect and a mystic. Simply because I'm his mother, I get it. But I think in reverse, he's like, oh, Mom, and yet he will say to me, Mom, would you put light around the children today? Mom, would you talk to somebody in my office? They're having a hard time. He's even said, Mom, would you bring your new device to my office? His office deals with NASA. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I can do this. So, you see, as opposite as we all could seem at times, this is why I circle back, and we're all one. You open your heart, and we're all one. Yeah. So anyway, today, because I think I still have another minute, although if the music comes on, I'm loving you. You can see, because I'm not in the studio, I just have to love you at a distance. My heart's with you, but bigger and better, I know who you are. I got your number, and I will hold that vision forever. Have a happy week. Tune in next week. Bye.